You know that feeling, right? You're talking to a chatbot, it's giving you the technically correct answers, but the whole thing just feels off, kind of cold, robotic, not very helpful. Well, what if I told you we might actually prefer chatbots that are a little bit flawed, a little more human? It sounds nuts, but a recent study suggests just that, and trust me, the implications are huge. So let's get into it.
So this all boils down to one really wild question. Can a worse chatbot actually be a better one? I mean, a bot that objectively fails at its task more often, but that we, the users, actually like more. It feels like a total contradiction, right? But as it turns out, the answer is a very surprising and a very loud yes.
Okay, so check this out. Researchers put a brand new AI system up against an older, more established one, and the results were just bizarre. The new AI, the one with all the bells and whistles, it actually had a lower task success rate. It messed up more. But, and this is the kicker, people were way more satisfied with it. Lower success, higher satisfaction. How on earth does that even work?
All right, so to really get to the bottom of this paradox, we've got to meet the contenders. Think of this like a boxing match for bots. We've got two very different AI systems stepping into the ring for this experiment. In this corner, we've got the old guard, the handcrafted dialogue system, or HDC. This is the seasoned veteran. It's precise, it's super effective, it follows every rule to the letter, but yeah, it can feel a little rigid, a little robotic. And in the other corner, the new challenger, the ReAct LLM. This is a whole different beast. It's powered by a large language model, and it's designed to do something new, to reason and act a lot more like you and me.
So what's the secret sauce for this new challenger? Well, it all comes down to how it thinks. See, instead of just following a strict, pre-written script, this ReAct architecture lets it, well, think. It can look at a problem, come up with a plan, and then act on it. It's kind of like the difference between someone just reading IKEA instructions versus a carpenter who actually understands how to build a chair.
And this whole thinking process works in a really cool, simple cycle. First, it has a thought. The AI internally figures out what it needs to do. Then it takes an action, like going to search a database. And finally, it makes an observation. It looks at what it found and decides on its next move. Thought, action, observation. It's a continuous loop of reasoning.
Okay, so we've met our two fighters, the old reliable pro and the slick new thinker. But how do you actually score the match and figure out which one's better? Well, the researchers set up a really smart two-part test to put them through their paces in very different arenas. They basically set up two different battlegrounds. The first was a simulated trial. This is pure robot versus robot, a behind-the-scenes stress test to measure objective success. We're talking hard numbers across 1,000 automated dialogues. But then came the second arena, the human trial. This is where they put the bots in front of real people to measure not just task success, but also that fuzzy, crucial thing we call user satisfaction.
And here's a little peek at what that human trial actually looked like on screen. You had 20 real people trying to do real things, book a train, find a restaurant, that sort of thing. They'd have a conversation with one of the AIs and then rate the whole experience. And they did this a lot, about 95 dialogues for each system. So we're talking about a pretty solid amount of data.
Okay, the tests are done, the scores have been tallied, and this is where the story gets really, really interesting. Because the results from the robot trial and the human trial told two completely contradictory tales about our two contenders. First up, the simulated trial, the robot versus robot smackdown. And wow, it was a blowout. The old-school HTC system just dominated, getting it right almost 84% of the time. The new ReAct LLM? Not so hot. I mean, the more advanced GPT-4 version didn't even crack 44%. The researchers themselves literally called its performance severely underperforming. Yikes. So based on the pure, objective technical metrics, the verdict was crystal clear. The old, handcrafted system was way, way better. Case closed, right? The reliable old champ keeps the belt. Well, not so fast, because then we get the results from the human judges, and this is where the entire script gets flipped. Now look, the old HTC system still had a higher success rate, getting it right 60% of the time. But user satisfaction, the metric of who people actually enjoyed talking to, the new, less successful ReAct LLM blew it out of the water with a satisfaction score of over 65%.
And this chart right here, this is the whole story in a nutshell. Look at the ReAct LLM. Its success rate is just barely over 50%. It's basically a coin flip whether it's going to get the job done.
But look at that satisfaction bar. It's way up there at 65.5%. People were happy with it even when it was failing. That is the AI satisfaction paradox.
So this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If the new AI was failing more often, why in the world did people like it better? Let's peel back the layers and figure out the psychology of what was really going on here. Okay, first things first, let's be super clear. The new AI was genuinely messing up, a lot. It was doing something called hallucinating, basically making stuff up. For instance, it would ask the system for a piece of data called time when the correct technical name was arrive by. To a computer, that's a deal breaker. The whole request just falls flat.
And it gets even worse. Here's another one they found. The bot would confuse the departure time with the departure station. So it would try to tell the system that the train was leaving from 5 p.m. I mean, can you imagine? That's not just a small error. That's a fundamental breakdown. So yeah, that low success rate, it absolutely earned it.
But, and this is the huge but, while it was completely failing on the technical backend, it was absolutely acing the front-end conversation. It was just so much more, well, human. It generated these polite, well-structured, natural-sounding sentences. It sounded super confident. The more advanced GPT-4 version even asked smart, clarifying questions. It wasn't just spitting out data, it was having a real conversation.
And that's the absolute heart of it right there. The new AI succeeded at the conversation even when it totally bombed the task. And it turns out, for us humans, that's what really matters. We care about the experience, the politeness, the natural flow, the confidence. That stuff actually outweighed the bot getting the job done perfectly. We'd rather have a pleasant failure than a frustrating success.
So what does this all mean for the future of AI? Well, it's kind of a big deal. This whole study forces us to completely rethink what our goal even is when we're designing the AIs we're all going to be interacting with more and more.
So, the answer is simple, right? Just make all AIs more human-like and conversational. Well, there's a catch, and it's a big one: money. It is incredibly expensive to run these advanced models. Look at this number. Just to run 1,000 of those simulated chats with the GPT-4 version cost nearly $2,300. That's a massive roadblock to making these friendly bots available to everyone. Which brings us to the final fascinating question this all leaves us with. What do we actually want from our AI? Should we design them to be perfectly efficient, flawless machines, or should we design them to be perfectly relatable, even if that means they make mistakes sometimes? This research seems to suggest we lean towards the second one. And that choice between cold efficiency and flawed relatability is probably going to shape the entire future of artificial intelligence.